Let's take a look at another function. I'm going to jump back to the editor, and I'm going to re-comment out this line and uncomment out the next example. Now this one uses a function called nl2br, which is short for new line to break. And what this will do is take any new lines inside of the text. You see that there's one after A here, and it will convert it to a break tag. Now the purpose of this is if you have a string that includes new lines, and you want to display those new lines in a browser. Typically, those new lines won't display in the browser, it will only display in the source code, so we need to add breaks or break tags wherever those new lines are. So what we're doing is passing variable to this function. It will return the value of this variable with break tags where there are new lines, and then what we're doing is reassigning it back to the variable called variable. Now you've seen this convention already, where we're taking a variable and using it on the right side of this equal sign, and then assigning it back to a variable. Now this seems a little tricky because how do you know what happens first? But if you remember that everything to the right of the equal sign happens first and gets converted to some value before it gets assigned to the left side, then you know that after this function runs, this variable doesn't matter anymore. We simply have a new string that includes these break tags. And that's what we're assigning to variable, replacing what was there before. So let's go ahead and save this and jump back to the browser and refresh. And sure enough, we see a break between this is A and string example. And if we looked at the source code, you'd see that we have this is A, and then here's our break tag, and then here's the rest of the string. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at another example. I'm going to jump back to the editor. I'm going to re-comment this line and then uncomment the next example. Now in this line, we use a function called trim. What trim will do is take any white space that exists at the beginning of a variable and at the end of the variable, and again, those are extra spaces, new lines, or tab characters, and it will remove them, basically trimming it down to the actual text or the actual content of the string variable. So if we save this and jump back to the browser and refresh, and then we looked at the source code, we'd see that there's no longer any spaces at the beginning and no longer spaces at the end, and we can check by highlighting all of the text inside of the source code. Okay, let's take a look at the next example. I'm going to go ahead and re-comment out this example and uncomment out the next one. This next function is called strlen, that's short for string length, and it will take a string variable and it will return the number of characters inside of that string. So when we reassign this value over to variable, it will be a number. Let's go ahead and save this and jump back to the browser and refresh. And sure enough, the number of characters in our string is 49.